Hello. How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. And welcome back to the HCW channel. And welcome back to HCW Show Squared, the show that your format or formula of the defunct HCW Show podcast is the power of, you guessed it, 2. I'm your host, as always, Dan, DP, as we all say nowadays, D-P-Z, yeah. And I am joined by absolutely no one. Believe it or not, at the start of the day we're recording this, I was scheduled to have 3 guests on. And by the time of recording, it's no guests, and it's just me, and my throat's going. But yeah, 3 guests to nothing, and it's just me, and rightly so, in my void. This is of course a green screen that I purchased recently. I mean, not that I purchased, no, I wouldn't purchase this sort of thing for myself, no. It was donated by the fine folks at Amazon. Let's go with that. Unfortunately Craig couldn't be here due to he's on assignment. The other guests that we tried to get on for this had to pull out last second as well due to other reasons and stuff, so whatever, that's fine, you know. At the end of the day, there's a show to do. You guys want to hear someone talk about what happened on NXT, and I will be that person. And yes, if you're wondering, this is coming out before the Halloween Havoc review, because again, there's been complications with getting guests on for that, and I didn't want to do the PLE by myself. However, this is Weekly TV, so let's go straight into it. This is for NXT on the 29th of October. This is the first show post Halloween Havoc PLE. We get a recap of Halloween Havoc, which is just basic stuff, until it's cut off by Tatum Paxley, who is running a coffin backstage, who claims that Wendy Chu will go into her final ride, and then she leaves. So with that in mind, it must be time for the first match of the night, which is of course the first ever women's casket match within WWE. I'm not sure if there have been others outside of WWE. So that's why I put within WWE. It'd be quite silly if this was the first time there's ever been an all-female casket match. But hey, if it is the first ever, then fair play. But, you know, 2024? Come on. Anyway, it is Tatum Paxley with the coffin against Wendy Chu with the bed. They're both wearing costumes. I'm not sure what either reference is. They're too detailed to not be just generic costumes. But I just didn't know the references. If you guys know them, feel free to let me know. We get a bunch of spots in this match. It's really fun. There's a trash can over the head with the kendo stick spot. Wendy puts Tatum in the trash of woe, which is a tree of woe, while Tatum's in the trash can. There's a hip toss into a dollhouse in the corner. Wendy nails Tatum with a body pillow, which she then reveals is full of Lego bricks. She then proceeds to slam Tatum through the Lego bricks. Wendy has a sleeper splash on Tatum in the coffin already, which then puts them both in the coffin and the lid shuts on both of them. At that point, I'm like, is that not a draw? A tie? Like, what are the rules here? However, it wasn't a draw. It was not a draw. And a bit later on, Tatum was able to get some momentum back and nails, but fires the fire extinguisher into Wendy, which sends her falling off the coffin into the bed, which is a table. It's a bed frame sort of thing. And from there, she's able to pick Wendy up and throw her in the coffin and shut the lid. And Tatum wins. I rated this 3 3/4 stars. I thoroughly like this. I really like this. It's not too often that you see a casket match, and in this case, both competitors made the most of the opportunity. And considering it was only about 10 minutes as well, It's probably one of the if not the most shortest classic matches in WWE history. But saying that, it was fun. It was memorable, and I know I had a real fun time watching it. So you should go check it out too when you get a chance. So we go from something fun to something annoying. It's NXT champion Trick Williams. He retained at Halloween Havoc, unfortunately, and he's here. He says that he walked through the Devil's Playground and he beat Ethan Page. He talks about Rich Holland attacking him at the PLE. He wants to talk to the special guest that Shawn Michaels invited to the show, Bubba Ray Dudley. Outcast Bubba Ray Dudley, who is just randomly here, I guess, because he was involved in the post-match at the PLE main event. But other than that, this is weird. Anyway, he's here. It's definitely one way to make Trick more interesting, because by himself, he's boring. Trick thanks Bubba for helping him out at the PLE. Bubba Ray says it was mainly about Rich Holland and the disrespect he's been showing. He also name drops his podcast co-host. I won't do that here. And the podcast name itself that Bubba Ray runs. So with that in mind, when will we get a shout out on NXT? Because, this is episode 63. And I've been doing this week in, week out with no recognition. Come on, guys. You're going to promote Bubba Ray's podcast, but not ours? We're like one of the only UK ones that cover it. Come on, guys. Hook us up, Mi casa es su casa y su casa es mi casa. Does that make sense? Anyway, we get a whoop that Trick chant. Bubba says that he helped Trick because no one else did. And does Trick know why? It's because Trick is the champion. Trick then asks Bubba if he'll be Trick's tag partner as Ethan and Ridge next week when they're in Philly. Bubba talks about him getting his juices flowing, talks about his past, the camos, the tie-dyes, and even brings out the old school glasses and he wears them. And he even says something like, and what if I was to push you, Trick? And be like, Trick! And then he goes the 1, 2, 3, and everyone goes, get the tables! Which I thought was really fun, and I enjoyed it. I'm marked out, okay? Bubba appreciates the offer, but he says no, because he doesn't want to take someone else's spot, which I thought was very reasonable, a very good reason to deny that. And that was the end of that. But backstage in Ava's office, Ava commented on Trick and Bubba having a pretty cool team, if it had happened. And then she's talking to someone who has history with Bubba, and it's revealed to be Rob Van Dam. RVD wants to be part of next week's show in Philadelphia, but he's not sure what that role will be. And Ava says, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. In the same segment, RVD leaves, and then in comes Kalani Jordan, who was a one-on-one rematch with Fallon Henley for the Women's North American title. Because for those who don't know, Fallon Henley is the new North American champion. After Kalani had beaten Jasmine and beaten JC, Fallon then proceeded to beat Kalani. But yeah, so Ava is hesitant to give a title shot like that to Kalani just like that, which is fair enough. In comes Nikki Lyons, essentially challenges Kalani to a match, and then apparently it's accepted and it's going to be made. Woo! Backstage, Sean Spears is with Brooks Jensen, talking about Tony D'Angelo's defense of the men's North American title. For those who don't know, Tony retained against Overeem in the table, ladders, and scares match. So yeah, he's talking about the North American title defense and also how he hasn't got a sling anymore, so he's going to try and get his foot in the door and try and get a challenge going for that title. He approaches Tony, but before he can say anything meaningful, Juicy Lucy and Stax appear to give Tony a message over the phone. And this takes priority over anything that Sean and Brooks were doing. An unnamed person has heard that Tony is coming to Philly next week and claims that Tony is disrespecting the family. He'll see Tony next week. It was someone Italian sounding, so it was like Brooklyn and Philadelphia and those areas of America, But yeah, on commentary during the next match, they do mention that the person sounded like Nunzio. So that's kind of cool. If it is Nunzio, that's kind of cool. And another ECW throwback, I guess. But yeah, move on to match 2. Match 2 is for the NXT Heritage Cup. We have Lexis King with William Regal in his corner, taking on William Regal's son, but not officially recognised that way in kayfabe, Charlie Dempsey, who is the current trophy holder, who is of course accompanied by the Ren QCC, Ren Sinclair, Miles Bourne, and Tavian Heights. Round 1, it's a decent catch-as-catch-can wrestling match, as both men exchange holds and a control over the match. Dempsey, however, gets the first fall with a bridging butterfly suplex. Pretty cool. So 1-0 Dempsey at this point. Into round 2. Lexis seems to be getting an upper hand. However, a lift over the ropes to the apron seems to have got on Lexis' knee. And he sells it? And Lexis sells this. Like he might be injured. Meanwhile, Regal is telling him, "Shake it off, lad. Shake it off." There was a 45-second break, allegedly, because the screen goes black and then it comes back and we're back in the ring and Lexis is fine. So I don't know. But he seemed near the knee pains, that's good. Round 2 ends with a super kick to Dempsey, but no point. So it's still 1-0 to Dempsey. We go into round 3. Dempsey's attention has changed and shifted to Lexis' knee, and specifically targeting that knee. There's a lot of back and forth, and Lexis is forced to fall to a knee from an Irish whip. Regal attempts to slide some brass knucks to Lexis, which Lexis refuses to take. Dempsey hits a German suplex for the 3. 2-0 Dempsey, and Dempsey wins and retains the Heritage Cup. I rated this 3.25 stars. It wasn't the strongest Heritage Cup match I've seen, however, it also wasn't the worst. This was more than just a match. It progressed story as well. And putting Regal and Lexis was a great move, as proven when he tried to pass the Knucks over, and Lexis refusing them in an effort to be less like his father. I thought Lexis did a good enough job though, in terms of keeping up with Dempsey, because, Dempsey is, a technical machine, so it's always going to be a little difficult to catch up with Dempsey. That's not your background. But yeah, this was a storyline match to progress Lexis and his progression. Meanwhile, Dempsey gets another defense under the record. That's about it, really. Move on to better things for Dempsey and for Lexis. The few things in between here, I didn't make a note of them because it was just vignette stuff. Wasn't that important. It was just load of advice, I believe. Just hyping up the match against Jayla. I didn't write anything down for it. But moving on, it's Brindley Reese. Yeah, she's in the ring. She's ready for something. Let's go Brindley. Who is she facing? Uh-oh. At this point, I was like, oh, Brindley, no. It's a debut match, so it's time for match 3. Brindley Reese against Zaria, or Zaria. I don't even pronounce it, but Zaria. My notes here are: Zaria dominates, Zaria decimates, Zaria delivers, Zaria pops Brindley's arm out and then back in place, and then Zaria hits a sort of F5 for the win. I rate this 1 star. Not a reflection on Zaria or Brindley, it was simply a squash match that was used to showcase what Zaria can do, which is fair enough. I just wish it hadn't been at the expense of Brindley. But I reckon the whole arm thing that she did was the reason why it was Brindley. I believe Brindley has something called the hyperfixation. Not hyperfixation. It's like hyperflex, hyperjointed. I can't remember the word for it, but it's like when you're double jointed. If double jointed, you can do the whole arm twisty thing. It looks nasty, but they're fine. Yeah, not really much to say about the match because it was sort of there. However, let's talk about the post-match. So Zaria is celebrating when out comes fatal influence from the crowd. That's all 3 of them, of course, Jasmine, JC, and Fallon. They intend on stealing Zaria's spotlight, her moment, because Zaria did that to them at the PLE. Then out comes Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, who also want to help Fatal Influence do this, and welcome Zaria to the NXT Women's Division. It's a 5v1, as the 5 women who come out surround the ring. In comes Kalani, though, to even the odds, but it's 5v2 at this point. In comes Julia and Stephanie Vakir to even the odds. It's 5-4 at this point. Then, some sirens play. Some familiar sirens. And out comes TNA's Jordynne Grace to even the odds to make it 5-5. At this rate, is Jordynne Grace signed to WWE? Like, she's been on NXT how many times now? But yeah, Jordan appears, and we've got a 5-on-5. It's a big fight, a big schmoz in the ring, and the Freeze come out on top with the victory, so to speak, the quote-unquote victory. After this, we get a match confirmed for next week, which is the 10-woman tag, featuring the 10 women that we've just seen on the screen. Moving on from that, we go to match 4 of the night. It's a singles match. Nikita Lyons takes on Kalani Jordan, who's already in the ring because she was part of that segment. We get a splits face-off. They're both doing splits. Cool. So we're going back and forth. So Adriana Rizzo distracts Nikita, and Nikita misses a splash, which leads to Kalani hitting her one-of-a-kind split-legged moonsault for the win. I rated this 2 stars. I'll give this the most that I can give a sub 5-minute match, simply because I appreciate how good Kalani makes Nikita look here. Kalani's sending for Nikita's offense was good, and I suspect that the size difference between both women is the main factor for that. I don't really enjoy Nikita matches, but you put her with a smaller woman who can sell, I very much can enjoy a Nikita match. Post-match though, Adriana Rizzo runs in to attack Nikita. Kalani breaks it up though. Kalani's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you attacking her?" And Rizzo's like, "She attacked me last week." And then Kalani's like, "Oh, fair. Yeah, go for it. Fair. Yeah, go for it." And she basically pushes Rizzo through the ropes to do a suicide dive onto Nikita. Rizzo and Nikita fight, and they go to the back. And then that's the end of that. Also, we thought, it is now time for Ethan Page. Ethan says he's not done with the NXT title. And he comes Rich Holland to talk to him. He says Ethan's had countless opportunities, and then recaps everything that we've already seen and that we already know. Cut to them then talking about Bubba Dudley, and Bubba seeing sense and not accepting Trek's plea for help. And in comes Bubba. I feel I can see where we're going with this now. Can you? Let me know in the comments. Bubba claims that everyone is talking about Ridge Holland. That's a bold-faced lie. No one is talking about Ridge Holland. Bubba says that he respects Ridge for his return to the ring, but that's where the respect ends. Bubba doesn't deal well with disrespect. However, he has one question for Ridge. Does Ridge know who he is? You think you know me? You think you know me? Bubba says he's one half of the greatest tag teams in the history of wrestling. He says Ridge's title opportunity is debatable, but it is there. Meanwhile, Ethan's claim to title shot is basically non-existent. Ridge calls him a radio host and a part-timer. Threatens he'll be in the hospital if he keeps this up. Bubba then throws a fist at Ridge, and then Ethan takes Bubba down and makes a save, and the pair work on Bubba. In comes Trick Williams to make the save. They clear house, and Bubba then confirms that he'll be Trick's partner for next week. Sick. Backstage, the babyface team of women that we saw earlier are conferring, talking about who they're going to go after. Stephanie Vakir wants Roxanne Perez. Julia wants Corey. Obviously she means Cora, but Corey is how she says. Zaria wants Fatal Influence, and so does Jordan. Kalani wants Fallon, so she asks them to spare her Fallon, so she can do a Fallon. And they agree. And then, randomly, in comes Rhea fucking Ripley. Okay. To praise the team and to hype the match for next week. Sick. Like, that's really cool. And seeing Rhea next to Zaria, they're both from the same sort of indie like origin scene. They're both Australian. Was pretty cool as well. So confirmed for next week, we have 3 matches confirmed. That's 3. There we go. We've got a hardcore match with a special guest referee, HCW alumni Dawn Marie, as Lola Vice takes on Jada Parker. I'm going for Lola Vice to win that. We've got a tag team match, Trick Williams and Bubba Dudley taking on Ethan Page and Ridge Holland. I'm of course going for Trick and Bubba because it's the hometown Bubba Dudley. Dudley Boys, etc. And finally, we have the 10-woman tag that we always about earlier. The Roxanne, Cora, Fallon, JC Jasmine against Julia, Vakir, Zaria, Kalani, Jordan. I think the Faces win this. Jasmine Nix is a very clear wink link there. But yeah, backstage now. We see Ava with Stevie Turner and Robert Stone. Eddie Thorpe approaches to ask Ava for something, but before he can, there has been a commotion, everyone. We see referees running to the parking lot to the back, where we see a glimpse of Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Okay, cool. They're smiling as cameras go around the car, and then we see a bloody Rhea Ripley. Ripley has lots of blood around the eye region, like this area. It looks very gnarly. And my first thought was, is that an occipital injury? Occipital injury, which is to do with the eye and the eye socket. I thought, fucking hell, I don't know about that. But since obviously that was on Tuesday, I'm recording this on Friday, so it's not, it's been a little bit of time. Basically, they've announced that she's been injured, Rhea. And it's been revealed that the injury is a fractured right orbital socket, which will put her out of action for an undisclosed amount of time, which means she's either already injured and they're writing her off TV, or this is fake. Well, not fake, but it is fake, but like for storyline purposes, it's going to be like that, I don't know though. We'll see. We'll see what happens to that. They've advanced the Raw storyline through NXT. So, cool. Moving on. To the main event. It's main event time, everyone, already. Like, this is what it is. Like, when it is just me talking in the void, as it were, the void don't talk back. Like, there's no one there. There's no one there. It's just black. There's nothing here. It's just me. Hello. But yeah. So with that in mind, let's talk about the main event. NXT Tag Team Championships. Champions Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom taking on the team of Uncle and Nephew, Cedric Alexander and Javon Evans. This should be a fun one, is the first note I wrote in here. So, Axiom and Cedric kick things off. There's nice speed to start off with. Cedric looking to keep it slower with more control. Meanwhile, Axiom is a bit slower than Nathan, but he's still speedy. However, Nathan tags himself in, and he wants Javon. Cedric complies and gives him Javon. Nathan and Javon are fast boys, and they're very fast. They do a whole sequence to begin with, and it's like cool, very cool. Mortal Kombat Jiu-Jitsu, cool. A tag to Cedric though slows things down again, and Cedric even tells Javon, "Calm, slow down, slow yourself, know your role, and shut your mouth." We get a Javon suicide dive to Axiom on the outside and a springboard crossbody lariat to Nathan for the 2 count. We get a high-low from Fraxium on Javon for a 2 count. We get a Cedric burst powerbomb on Axiom for a 2 count as Nathan breaks that one up. We get a springboard cutter from Javon to Axiom to get a very close 2. Uncle and Nephew look to finish it, but a Canadian Destroyer takes Javon out of action for a little bit. We get a Spanish Fly and Phoenix Splash combination. Gets a 2 count as Javon breaks up the pin. Out comes Wesley with a chair, and this distracts Javon, leaving Cedric in a 2-on-1 situation. However, Cedric dodges the Phoenix Splash, hits a big knee on Nathan. He hits Axiom with a lumbar check, and then Nathan with a Michinoku driver for a very close 2. Cedric then attempts a top rope move, but he's caught by a superplex and a Falcon Arrow and a super kick combination for the 3. And your winners, and still tag team champions, it is Fraxium, Frazier, and Axiom. So yeah, if you're wondering, I rated it 4.5 stars. These two teams were always gonna kill it, always. high octane, explosive action. This is what people mean when we talk about tag team wrestling, and you can see why. It's amazing stuff. I would highly suggest, if you can, go seek the match out because it's fantastic. It also played the storyline though, so despite it being a great match, it also played the storyline here of Nathan's hot-headedness, Javon's speed, Cedric's control, and Axiom's calm. The match allowed for more technical exchanges as well because of Cedric, as both Nathan and Javon are more of the flashy, speedy type. There was all gas, very little breaks. It was intense, it was great. I have no notes. And after that, we go backstage for one final thing. We see Wesley and John Evans fighting it backstage in the halls when Ava comes in, and then security and refs break them up. Ava, you can't hear her say a single thing because of all the shouting. In comes RVD, who everyone says is like, it's complete silence. He's like, you know what, Ava? I got an idea. I know what I want to do next week. That's my RVD impression. It's very bad, I know. And then he leaves. And then someone, I think it's Javon, someone says, I love you. Love you, RVD. And RVD leaves. And that, everyone, is the end of NXT. We have managed to get through that in less than half an hour. When it's just me and the Void does not talk back. And if it did, it would be very concerning. However, with that in mind, that does bring an end to this review. This is literally just an NXT review for the Sunday. If you're interested in seeing my thoughts, my opinions on things, or just me generally chatting shit, then please check out my Twitter, which is just here, my Twitter or X at Depreezy. And the show outlets themselves, of course, we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, and Twitch. Twitch is hopefully coming back. I keep saying it, it's just finding the right time to do it. Twitch, of course, we're out of spooky season now, so I'm probably not playing horror games that much, or spooky games that much. I think I'm leaning back into doing Star Wars again, because I really want to get into Outlaws. But before I do that, I've got to get through Jedi Survivor. But yeah, other than that, that does bring an end to this. Please follow everyone that I put in the description below as well. And that's all I have. See you later.